BlackBerry, once the industry's best player, but again, how the mighty fall. Welcome to the Fact Check channel. If you have not subscribed, please do. The BlackBerry was once the dominant force in the mobile market. It was the go-to phone for business users, thanks to its secure email and messaging features. However, the BlackBerry's reign came to an end with the arrival of the iPhone and other smartphones. At its peak in September 2011, there were 85 million BlackBerry subscribers worldwide. However, BlackBerry lost its dominant position in the market due to the success of the Android and iOS platforms. Its numbers had fallen to 23 million in March 2016, a decline of almost three-quarters. BlackBerry Limited, BB, known as Research in Motion, RIM, until January 2013, has a long history of extreme success and failure. It's credited by many as creating the first smartphone. It's also important to note that BlackBerry failed to develop new features or technology related to its product. They kept producing the same model over and over with tiny improvements, but not any big leaps seen in Apple and Android devices. BlackBerry pushed their products to the consumers, instead of actually listening to them. BlackBerry's stock price peaked at an all-time high of $147 in mid-2008. A year earlier, Apple, Incorporated, AAPL introduced its iPhone, the first prominent touchscreen phone. BlackBerry ignored it initially, perceiving it to be an enhanced mobile phone with playful features targeted at younger consumers. However, iPhone was a huge hit, and this was the start of BlackBerry's demise. Not just aimed at individuals, the iPhone managed to attract business leaders, penetrating BlackBerry's core market, which was soon flooded with many similar email-enabled smartphones from other manufacturers. Yet, BlackBerry managed to maintain its status as a business email device. People used to carry two phones, a BlackBerry for business and another personal phone. BlackBerry introduced Storm in 2008, its first touchscreen phone to compete with the iPhone. But after high initial sales, complaints started pouring in about the device's performance. This was the first time investors, analysts, and the media started to worry about the business prospects of BlackBerry. BlackBerry manufacturers preferred competition, in a nutshell. The introduction of the Apple iPhone, which BlackBerry didn't take seriously, caused a loss of market share BlackBerry couldn't recover from. More competitors entered the smartphone space, eventually crowding BlackBerry out. There are a few reasons why the BlackBerry disappeared. First, the iPhone and other smartphones offered a more user-friendly experience. The BlackBerry's physical keyboard was seen as a drawback by some users, and its operating system was not as intuitive as the iPhone's iOS. Second, the iPhone and other smartphones had a wider app selection. The BlackBerry's App Store was limited, and many popular apps were not available for the BlackBerry. Third, the iPhone and other smartphones were more affordable. The BlackBerry was more expensive than its competitors, which made it less appealing to budget-conscious consumers. As a result of these factors, the BlackBerry's market share declined rapidly. In 2009, the BlackBerry had a 40% market share in the United States. By 2013, its market share had fallen to just 5%. The BlackBerry is now a niche product. It is still used by some businesses and government agencies, but it is no longer the dominant force in the mobile market. Here are some of the key factors that led to the BlackBerry's downfall. 1. Lack of innovation. BlackBerry was slow to innovate and adapt to the changing mobile landscape. While its competitors were adding new features and apps, BlackBerry was content to rest on its laurels. 2. Inflexible operating system. BlackBerry's operating system was not as user-friendly as its competitors. It was also difficult for developers to create apps for the BlackBerry platform. 3. High price. BlackBerry devices were more expensive than their competitors. This made them less appealing to budget-conscious consumers. 4. Security concerns. BlackBerry was once known for its superb security features. As year went by, there was a series of high-profile security breaches, which eroded consumers' confidence in the brand. At the beginning, BlackBerry, gave us hope. It was a game changer in the phone industry. The BlackBerry was instrumental in changing the way that humans worked. Owning a BlackBerry, and, really, owning any smartphone subsequently, meant that you didn't have to be stuck at a desk in a strip-lit office to remain connected. It meant you carried the office around with you at all times. You could reply to emails at night, or on holiday, or on the toilet. That IT was also extremely addictive. Not only was a BlackBerry pleasingly nubby to hold, but, thanks to its incessantly blinking notification light, it would remind you constantly of a whole world of digital FOMO that you were missing out on. For this reason, the word crackberry, the term given to the phone's ability to inspire obsession, became the 2006 Webster's New World College Dictionary Word of the Year. They could also lead to injuries. For example, BlackBerry thumb, another term for decurvain tenosynovitis, was dubbed the plague of the wired generation in 2007. But, arguably, it was worth the pain. Because, and this might not be something that you can appreciate unless you were there at the time, the BlackBerry had a keyboard. A full QWERTY keyboard that you could tap away at with both thumbs, making light work of typing. Before this breakthrough, written communication had been a genuine nightmare. Cast your mind back to the horror of sending text messages on a numerical keypad, where you had to press each key a certain amount of times to scroll through to the right letter. Remember how hard it was to type the word fizzy on a brick phone? First you had to press the 3 button 3 times, then the 4 button 3 times, then the 9 button 4 times, then pause to let the cursor move, then the 9 button 4 more times, then pause again, and then press 9 3 final times. It took forever. If the BlackBerry generation can be defined by anything at all, it is probably the sheer relief of only having to press one button once for each letter, but the thrill was short-lived. As soon as the iPhone was announced, BlackBerry sales fell off a cliff and would never recover. As an entity, BlackBerry is now actually dead. No phones have been manufactured since 2016, the same year the popular photo blog Celebrity BlackBerry Sightings shut down with the message, "Unfortunately, all the celebrities now own an iPhone. This is so sad." Finally, last January, the company shut down all its services for any phone still using its operating device. But that hasn't deterred some diehards. The general legacy of the BlackBerry is one of a company that couldn't see the writing on the wall, he explains. But everybody kind of has a, "oh, isn't it too bad," feeling about it, too. When I look back on the heyday of the BlackBerry brand, I'm reminded of those images of how deeply it was connected to the business community. In other words, it was seen as a symbol as those who had made it professionally. I remember very vividly our president at the time holding up his BlackBerry and saying, "I cannot live without my BlackBerry," very much in line with what you were describing with respect to this iconic rise of such a great brand. Tell us a little bit about the genesis of this rise. What were the key business moments that precipitated this rise to greatness for that particular brand? Looking at an angle, I believe with BlackBerry, these were the major failures that I believe two main factors contributed to BlackBerry's demise. First, BlackBerry incorrectly believed that the corporate world rather than the consumer world would drive smartphone adoption. BlackBerry focused on attributes such as security and keyboard ease of use to come to dominate the corporate market. Focusing on its corporate users, BlackBerry insisted on creating phones with full keyboards, despite seeing the feedback from the majority of users that they preferred touchscreens. BlackBerry saw its devices as email-enabled mobile phones, rather than the powerful mobile computers which Google and Apple envisioned. While BlackBerry was focusing on the keyboard, Google and Apple were focusing on entertainment attributes such as better cameras, speakers, and video viewing. Second, BlackBerry did not take advantage of the consumer-focused application economy which drove massive adoption to iPhones and Androids. Both iPhones and Androids encouraged third-party developers to build applications to be sold on their application marketplaces. Applications changed phones from email-enabled mobile phones to full-fledged mobile entertainment hubs. Once droves of users started trading in their BlackBerries for iPhones and Androids, network effects further expanded BlackBerry's problem. BlackBerry Messenger only worked between BlackBerries and so became less and less applicable. Similarly, users of iPhones and Androids interacted with each other via applications which were not available on the BlackBerry. When BlackBerry tried to launch a consumer-focused device with a touchscreen rather than a keyboard in 2015, the device did not stack up well against the sophistication of the Android and the iPhone, which were then both several generations in. So, what can we learn from BlackBerry failure? The takeaway. In the technology sector, failure is often a precondition to future successes, while prosperity can be the beginning of the end. If the rise and fall of BlackBerry teaches us anything, it is that the race for innovation has no finish line, and that winners and losers can change places in an instant.